what I wanted to do was to go over with the family the intricacy of the cartoon Thundercats, because though it's probably one of my favorite, it is of no exception. The 80s series of cartoons were very, very deep. And this one, I want to go into what inspired it and some of the Easter eggs, all of them if I could, that are hidden inside of it. In particular, I want to go over how the Thundercats was based on a galactic story that may or may not be true, buyer beware, of the LYRANS. I have myself propagated that we, us humans, we are the reptilians. And if you want to go more onto that, then, you know, it's all on my YouTube channel, CrumbTV. But I must admit, I was in error. We technically are the reptilians, but we are second generation. And we are actually the LYRANS. And the LYRANS was the story of the Thundercats as told through cartoons. And I want to go through tonight and break that down for the family. So, as I was saying, what I want to do here is paint a picture of the esoteric, maybe occult in some respect, origins of the cartoon Thundercats. So, Thundercats was based on the LYRANS. And if I had to guess, most of the family isn't particularly aware of the LYRANS. We know about the reptilians. We probably know about the Anunnaki, the Greys, so on and so forth. But the LYRANS may not be one of the most popular of the bunch. So I'll get right into it.
Okay.
The so-called creators of Thundercats only created a few concept sketches and a logo and a show title, which was the Thundercats. They told Leonard Starr, from here on out known as Leo, that they didn't know what it was going to be about and asked him to write something. Starr went home and wrote the whole Thundercats Bible. Needless to say, they loved it. And they asked how he conceived it. He said he based it on an Egyptian type of motif and recreated it as sci-fi. Yeah, needless to say, they loved it. And they asked where he got it from. And he told them the information I'm giving to you can be found on Lio Convoy, which is the YouTube channel right here. And it says, Icon, Leonard Starr's work in the 80s. Now, Leonard Starr is no longer with us. So his best friend and biggest fan and his master student, if I could even call him that, is the one who is telling this story. So now the friend says that Leonard said he got it from the Egyptian type of motif and recreated it as sci-fi. Leo always said that in addition to being listed as the show's head writer, he also should have had a credit as the show's head developer. His words, not mine. So the first episode was called Exodus. Now, in the Old Testament, the Exodus was the Hebrews leaving Egypt. And we can see that it was written by Leonard Starr. So artist Edward Poitner's depiction of the Israelites fleeing Egypt. Now, this isn't quite the Israelites fleeing Egypt. As you can see, they're still chained and they are in whips. I'm sorry, they're being whipped. However, they had an intimate relationship with the lion as seen in this picture. And this is according to Lionel Thundercats Wiki. Now, it's at the bottom. I'm going to delete this to focus your attention. Wrong button. So look at this right here. It says simply, Lionel's early production name was originally Lion L. Now, if you know anything about the Hebrew belief system, all of the patrons of the god El bear his last name. And In this case, Lionel, but in the Bible, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Israel, Jezebel, so on and so forth. The list goes on because these are the children of El. And in the early production, again, his name is Lionel. Now, Judah was the first tribe of the Hebrews to take its place in the land of Israel. Church, I would ask you to focus your attention. Everybody turn your Bibles to Revelations 5, verse 5. And when you have it, let the church say amen. I'm just joking. That's what we should say. And it reads, and one of the elders said to me, weep no more. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has conquered. This is where the conquering lion comes from, so that he can open the scroll and its 7 seals. Moreover, the tribe of Judah, and this is according to Britannica. This isn't tinfoilhat.com, we love thundercats.com. This is Encyclopedia Britannica. In an article titled Judah, Kingdom of Judah, Southern Kingdom, and Davidic Dynasty, it reads, the tribe of Judah settled in the region south of Jerusalem and in time became the most powerful and most important tribe. That's according to Britannica. Not only did it produce great kings like David and Solomon, but also it was prophesied that the Messiah would come from among its members. Now, I've presented the Messiah as being one of us, but you can imagine him however you see fit. Now, continuing on with this theme, if you go and look at ThunderCats, they were guided by the spirit of Jaga. He's the blue guy towards the end of this GIF. Right there, he's kind of translucent. You kind of see this in the opening themes of the cartoon when it comes on. Now, Jaga, the spirit, that's who's leading them. Now, Emperor Haile Selassie also claims lineage to be of the bloodline of Judah. In fact, one of his titles, the emperor, is Lion of Judah. This is what they called Emperor Haile Selassie. Moreover, he bears a striking resemblance to Jaga. Now, let me breathe for a second. AD, to the pod room, the Podcraft, to AD, you tell me, does Jaga look like Haile Selassie to you? I don't know. Maybe it's me.
The nose. There's resemblance in the nose.
What about those cheekbones?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
The mustache, those bushy old eyebrows. I want to ask the listening audience, and for those who are going to catch this later, if he does, tap in. If he doesn't, listen, correct me, because I am known for wearing a tinfoil hat. So bear with me. And that's where this comes in. They asked him, where'd you get this from? Now, even though he said Egyptian, and that's a quote, Egypt is in Africa and it's right above Ethiopia. So it's not a far leap. And in addition to that, when we're dealing with this whole Lion-L thing, this is according to the wiki fandom. Lion-L, that's very Hebrew of you. And when we're dealing with Emperor Haile Selassie, he claimed to be the Lion of Judah. So it's not too far of a leap to make that connection, is all I'm saying, respectfully.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to rule out that I'm wearing a tinfoil hat, but it's there. Moving on. Sword of Omens belong to Jaga. The Jaga toy even comes with the Sword of Omens. Notice Emperor Selassie posing with a sword. The Emperor's nickname is Ja. Look at this. Let me again delete these pictures. Delete, 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 delete. Look inside that Star of David. Inside that, this right here, I'm gonna delete it and I'm gonna undo. I didn't put that stuff together. That came like that. They call him Ja. They call him Ja, and the character who was inspired by him, his name is Jaga. Oh. Okay. It's a it's a heck of a coinky dink, to say the least.
Yeah.
Now here's even more. The creator, his name is Leonard Starr. The nickname for Leonard is Leo, which means lion. Thus, his name is Lion Star. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. This is what some people were born for, the roles they played. It's no coinky dink that Amelia Earhart was a pilot. Hitler was known for violence. Some of these names, they just kind of fit the character.
Yeah.
I digress.
That's true. There's a carnivore doctor, and his name is Paul Saladino. He has salad in his last name.
Come on, somebody.
It's weird, but he doesn't eat any vegetables. Everyone makes fun of him for that.
So, the guy's name is Lion Star. Well, the Lion Star is actually Vega, which is the brightest star in the Lyra constellation. Lyra's symbol is the harp. Now, this suits them well, as they are a peaceful people. This is according to legend. This is according to the mythos. You know, the Bible has its mythos. The different religions have their mythos. This is theirs. And you can see right here in the top right-hand corner is the Vega star. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stars. It's a very small constellation. It's a very small star system. And it's in the shape of a harp, because we know music soothes the savage beast. These people, and it's interesting you say Saladino. These lions, these felines, they were vegans. They weren't the type. You know, they're from the constellation Vega. They're vegans. They're not the type to eat meat. They're not the type, you know, this is very much going with the theme of the Hebrews, the lion and the lamb. This particular lion, why was the lion, according to the Hebrews, why was the lion with the lamb? Because the lion didn't eat meat. That's why, according to the Bible, according to that belief system and that mythos, the lion is with the lamb. Jesus was the lion. Jesus is also the Lamb of God. They don't eat meat. They're very peaceful, and that this is a continuation of that theme. Moving forward.
Is that where we get vegetable then from Vega, or does
Vega?
Wow.
Tap all the way in.
Wow.
Anybody know how much all is? Okay. The Lyra constellation is close. I would even argue it's right next door to the Draco constellation. So you're going to see right here. Let me delete this to focus your attention. Undo.
It all goes back to Drake.
Come on. So right here, you're going to see, I'll delete that. I'm trying to delete it. So right there, you're going to see Lyra, and the biggest star is Vega. And right across the street, right next door, right downtown, is you're going to see Draco right under the little, right between the little and the Big Dipper. There's the Draco, and the Draco star. Look at how little Lyra is. 1 to 6 stars. Draco, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stars in that constellation.
Wow. They
are significantly bigger than their peaceful counterpart. Significantly. Now, in the ThunderCats, their planet is called Thundera, not Vega.
Thundera? That's where we get thunder?
Thunder.
Damn.
And lightning. I love that song. Thunder and Lightning, but I forgot who sang that song.
Okay, this is new to me.
So, in the ThunderCats, their planet, again, is called Thundera. So what we're looking at right now is ThunderCats Wiki. These are all the ThunderCats nerds, and they're going over all the information. And it reads, Thundera was destroyed at the beginning of the series. Mum-Ra later teleported to where Thundera once was and reformed it back together. Now it is inhabited by the ThunderCats and other surviving Thunderians. In the episode, All That Glitters, Panthro mentions that gold originally did not exist on Thundera. So why is this important? Because what we're seeing is a connection between the Thunderians, which is the LYRANS, and their planet being destroyed. Because the LYRANS, their planet was plundered by the reptilians. And, well, I'll continue on. Thundrillium. Thundrillium is an element found on Thundera and Third Earth that the ThunderCats can use as fuel, well, to fuel their vehicles and power the cat's lair. Where have you heard that story before? That's the story of the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki, their planet was destroyed, and the Anunnaki, according to Zechariah Stitchin, the Enuma Elish, and the Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki's planet was destroyed, and the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine gold to reform their atmosphere. Same thing with Mars. Mars doesn't have a sustainable atmosphere. And we know that gold is very reflective. That's going to protect from the harsh cosmic rays outside of our visible light spectrum. Overview. To process Thunderium, it is melted down and poured. This usually takes place within the cat's lair, often overseen by Panthro and Tigra. So now they're melting down the gold. And this story is in line. This is amalgamation between the story of the Anunnaki and the Hebrew Exodus. Remember, the very first episode is called Exodus. It's a clear and obvious Hebrew Old Testament theme, Judean theme. So let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 32, verse 19. It reads, as Moses approached the camp, because remember, he's talking to God for 40 days. He's up there for almost, 2 months. He's up there for a long time talking to God. So finally, when he finally come back from the mountain and he saw the calf, as Moses approached the camp, when he finally come down from talking with the burning bush and saw the calf and the dancing, he burned with anger. Remember, Moses is not emotionally intelligent. Moses will explode on you. And he threw the tablets out of his hands. These were the tablets given to him by God, written by God. What happened to the commandments that God gave Moses? Moses shattered them at the base of the mountain. Amen, church. The 10 commandments that you got are a edit. Ah, man, I done broke the here. What did he say again? Thou shalt not lie. What else did he say? I can't remember. I can only remember 10. God had wrote on the front and the back of those tablets. It was more than 10 commandments. Moses could only remember 10. That's why you got the 10. Thus say the Lord. Amen, church. Anyway, verse 20. Then he took the calf that they had made and burned it in the fire. The same thing with the Anunnaki, same thing with the ThunderCats. Ground it into powder and scattered the powder over the face of the water, then forced the Israelites to drink it. Moses got so mad because he was gone for almost 2 months. I'll be gone to November. He comes back. They're worshiping a pagan god because his God led them out of Israel. Now they going back to the gods that they were worshiping in Egypt, and Moses is tight. So Moses takes the calf, he sets it on fire, he grounds it into dust, puts it in the water, makes them drink it, and unalives them. Brother, where have you heard that story before? This religious leader makes his following drink this stuff, and he does a mass unaliving. Where have you heard that story before?
Mass unaliving. Does that mean like resurrection?
Well, I'm just trying to be YouTube friendly when I say KILL. He does a mass unaliving.
Oh, unaliving. Yeah. Wow.
Where have you heard that story before? Oh, yeah. Jim Jones did what Jim Jones did with Kool-Aid. Moses did with gold. Amen, church?
Wow.
I knew I heard this story somewhere. That's right. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
If Moses make you some Kool-Aid, do not drink. This is gold flavored, Crumb, but it's beautiful. Listen, family, everything that glitters is what was the name of the episode? In the episode, all that glitters. Anybody know how much all is? I don't care how glittery that Kool-Aid is. Don't drink. Get out. Back to the chopper. Y'all better get out of here. Do not drink the Kool-Aid. I don't care if Moses make it. Moving on. In spite of the peace enjoyed by the natives, Thundera also had dangerous species, such as giant spiders that would attack anyone. It had 12. This number 12 is very religious. 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a night, 12 constellations, 12 zodiacs, 12 sons of Israel, 12 tribes, blah, blah, blah. It had 12 great seas upon its surface, and in the sky there hung apparently more than one moon based on the phase moons of Thundera. The ancient Thunderians did not originally come from Thundera. There was a great migration that led the planet's settlement ages ago. The original the ThunderCats aren't even from Thundera. They're not from Thundera. This is important in just a second. Let's move on. Well, I'll just read the rest. Thundera's destruction was the result of the Sword of Plundar. It was cast into the deepest canyon of the planet's surface by Jaga and fell into the molten core of Thundera. Its attempts to escape by Mumra caused the mass eruption which obliterated Thundera. But the sword itself survived. It was Mumra who was behind this. The same way the reptilians were behind the LYRANS leaving their original planet. So let's get into the LYRANS.
Wow.
The LYRANS are actually called star seeds. Good brother, and to the Podcraft room. Has anybody ever heard people being referred to as star seeds?
Yeah, I dated this super hippie chick, and she said she was a light working star seed.
What if I told you anybody who claims to be a star seed, unbeknownst to them, most likely, they're referring to LYRANS. If you are a star seed, if you think you are a star seed, if you ever heard of a star seed, you're referring to the LYRANS. Crumb, something in me just relates to lions and cats and felines and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you're a star seed connecting back to your original ancestors.
That explains the furries.
God dang it! Bro, you cheating. You teaching. I'm gonna have to sip some.
I'm afraid to say anything because sometimes I feel like whatever I'm gonna say is actually the next slide.
All wise, Ryan. Exactly.
I ain't trying to jump ahead of you.
I'm grateful. The LYRANS are actually called LYRAN star seeds. They were created as a pet race by the reptilians called Alpha Draconians. Their shape was a copy of their creators. Today, we identify that shape as human. Arm, leg, arm, head. Allah, that shape. They were abandoned and eventually evolved. So, Crumb, why do you say we are the reptilians? Because the shape that we are, our reptilian forefathers gave us that shape. However, we are the second generation of that shape. Arm, leg, arm, head. We're the second generation. The first generation of that shape were our direct ancestors, who we are the progeny of. The LYRANS. So yeah, I did say that we are the LYRANS. But I skipped it. I'm sorry, excuse me. I did say that we are the reptilians, but I skipped it. First is the reptilians, then it's the LYRANS created by the reptilians, and then after the LYRANS come the humans. So we are the reptilians indirectly. We're more so connected with the LYRANS. I digress. LYRAN starseed, blue-skinned cat people. So not only did the reptilians create these LYRANS, these cat people with the same form as they had, which is the same form that we have, but when they created these LYRANS, the LYRANS were blue. This is very important. The story of a primitive blue cat-like race that had to evolve due to war. Where have I heard that story before? Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that in the movie Avatar. These blue-skinned cat-like people who had to evolve based on war. The LYRANS were pets who were left to their own demise, left to their own. I forgot what the term is, but they had to evolve.
Yeah.
This is the same thing as the movie Avatar. So let's try to confirm that. This is Wikipedia. At the beginning, the Na'vi were meant to be more alien in their looks. However, director James Cameron said that in the first drawing of the main character, Neytiri, she had fins, gills, and cat-like features. Obviously, the fins they threw in the trash, the gills they threw in the trash, but they kept those cat features. The species was changed to look more like humans. This is the same thing that Leonard or Leo Starr did. Leo Starr created that by taking an old story and recreating it under the guise of sci-fi. James Cameron did the same girl, same thing. Now, I was talking to Skynet. And if you don't know the joke, Skynet was the AI from Terminator. It's just called AI. I was talking to Skynet, and Skynet says, yes, the Na'vi from the movie Avatar are blue-tinged humanoids with cat-like features. They have 2 eyes, ears, arm, legs, and a nose and a mouth. Arm, leg, arm, head. Allah. This is brought to you by your reptilian overlords. And their expressions are similar to humans. But they do have, as you can see here with this little boy, they do have cat-like expressions as well, to where you're going to notice the Na'vi have the ability to hiss. So here's a picture. On the left, you see Neytiri. On the right, you see the LYRANS. When you're dealing with the ThunderCats, this is a story told by many others in addition to the ThunderCats. The felines, because remember, the Alpha Draconians, who you might know as the Anunnaki, who some might know as the dragons, who some might know simply as reptilians. They were the ones who created the LYRANS. The felines and reptilian genetic kinship can be seen in their eyes. It can also be seen in the glottis, the part of the vocal cords that enable the ability to hiss. The glottis is the same vocal cords that the Na'vi people had. The glottis is the same vocal cords that reptilians have, because reptilians hiss, crocodiles hiss, turtles, snakes. I don't think lizards hiss. I may be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But cats as well, they hiss. And the same slit pupil, the same slit pupil that you're going to see within the felines, the domesticated feline, you're going to see the exact same pupil in the reptilian. This is not by chance, folks. This is by design.
I seen that in Mojito's eyes. Sometimes they'll go round, but sometimes they'll go into like a reptile type of look. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I had to sip some tea to that.
Yeah.
Did I just hear a meow?
Yeah, he's right here. Yeah, he's got the reptile eyes right there.
Well, there you have it.
I don't know if I can get it on screen, but yeah, y'all can see it. There it is. Eyes of a reptile.
Teach. That's confident.
And when he hisses, it sounds like a snake. Now, is it to mimic the snake rattle, or do actual snakes make that sound, that hissy sound with their mouth?
Wow, and those eyes are green. Wow. Yeah. Now, I just to be transparent, I'm not 100% sure, but yes, they both have that hissing ability. The details of that, my apologies, I'm not 100% sure about. Please forgive me.
It's just crazy because the rattlesnake has that shaker in the back.
Correct. Absolutely. And this is of no exception to the ThunderCats. The ThunderCats' close genetic relationship with Slythe, the reptilian, can be seen in their eyes as well. Up top, we see Panthro. I think the middle one is Lion-O. Next is Chitara, and last is Tigra. And they have those same slit eyes that Slythe, the reptilian, in the ThunderCat theories. He's one of the antagonists, but he's an underling antagonist. He's not one of the big dogs. But nonetheless, you can see his eyes have that same shape as well. So you're going to say, Crumb, the whole thing with us having cat ancestors is preposterous. And on its face, I would have to agree with you. But upon further research, I found this. In efforts to find safety, the LYRANS had to go down to the third dimension because the Alpha Draconians, they saw what was happening on their planet because they sent them there. They evolved, they terraformed the planet. The planet had lots of valuable things like gold. The reptilians came there, took it over, because remember, the Draconian star system is way bigger than the Vega star system. In addition to that, the Draconians had depleted all their natural resources. So they went over and plundered. Go back and look at the name of the sword. The name of the sword, highlighted in, I guess that's burgundy, and it's underlined. The Sword of Plundar. They went to the Vegan star system and plundered their planet, so they had to flee. They had to leave. They had to seek refuge. They're refugees. This is no different than in a cartoon where there was a great exodus. In efforts to find safety, the LYRANS had to go down to the third dimension, which we call Third Earth in the ThunderCats cartoon. This forced them to deactivate the lion's share, no pun intended. This forced them to deactivate, because they had to go down to the third dimension, to deactivate the lion's share of their activated DNA light codons, rendering them as hominids. Hominids are going to be the humanoid species right before Homo sapiens sapien. And it reads here, this is according to Business Insider. It says source genome research. This ain't ThunderCatsWiki.com. This is genome research. The genetic similarity between a human and a cat is 90%. We kind of should have already known. Why? This uncanny amalgamation between humans and lions, or maybe just felines, can be best seen in the Sphinx, which is the body of a lion and the head of a human. The ancestors kind of already put us on. This whole human-feline connection, I would say it's rather apparent when we look at when all things are considered, at the very least. I think that's fair. What say ye, brother? Is this something that intrigues you? This whole Sphinx? So
with the Sphinx, what I saw it as, because a lot of times in ancient times they're celebrating their age, the age as far as the age that they're in. For example, we just came out of the age of Pisces. We had the Jesus fish on the back of people's cars. Yep. And then you have in the age of Aries, they had the ram's horn. They blow the ram's horn. The age of Taurus, they would celebrate with the golden calf. Do you know what I mean? So what I kind of interpreted, and you know, with other interpretations also, was that the Sphinx was representing a cusp between the age of Virgo and the age of Leo, because you know how they're right next to each other. So that cusp would be that with the face of a virgin, which was also interpreted as a pharaoh, and then the body of a lion representing Leo. So that transition from Leo into Virgo was making what was, which is one of the many interpretations. As you know, there's so many interpretations for so many things, to represent the cusp of the two ages combining.
Right. And we've heard these stories even in the Bible. So the Bible this is not theology when we're dealing with the Bible. When I'm dealing with the Bible, it's not theology. I deal with astrotheology.
Yeah.
I saw where you had Santos Bonacci on the platform as well, who is one of the vanguards of this ideology.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see the story of the Bible in retrograde. So the story of Adam and Eve is what zodiac sign?
So with the many interpretations of Adam and Eve, which there's a biological, the astrological one was Adam was the sun and Eve was the moon, because Eve would come in the evening as the day is evening out. It's also where we get the word evil, which isn't necessarily evil, just to even out. So Adam and Eve in the astrological interpretation was the sun and the moon.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, according to Santos Bonacci, in terms of astrotheology, zodiac retrograde, Adam and Eve would be Gemini, the twin flame.
Okay.
1-2. After Gemini, what come? Because we're going backwards. What's before Gemini?
Taurus.
Taurus, which is Noah. I got to break down on why Noah is Taurus. It's a little complicated, so I'm gonna skip that one. Before Taurus is what?
Aries.
So Aries is the ram. Aries is going to be represented by Moses. Moses comes down after the whole Ten Commandment thing.
Yeah.
Talking to the burning bush, he has horns.
Yeah. That's why you see. That's why you see depictions of Abraham. Of Moses with horns on his head.
Correct.
Yeah. There's that transition right there. Go ahead.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Woo! Teach Muhammad.
Yeah. Same thing. I'm not sure if you're already going there. I don't want to jump ahead of you, but the same thing is where we get the mermaid with Aquarius and Pisces. The transition of Aquarius to Pisces is half man, half fish.
You on one.
But then some will say, mermaids actually exist and blah, blah, blah. And that's okay if they think that. I don't know. Maybe they do. But from what I saw, it's these are all mythological creatures that represent astrology in some way.
Before Aries is what?
Pisces.
So now you're going to have Adam and Eve, Noah, Moses. Pisces is Jesus. Mm-hmm. Jesus said, I will be with you, but only until the end of the age. Mm-hmm. This is in the Bible.
Yeah.
And an age is also called a house, a zodiac house. Mm-hmm. So this is right before the final supper, the Last Supper. Mm-hmm. So the 12 disciples like, where should we go? He says, follow the man who's carrying a pitcher of water into the house that he goes into. Mm-hmm. Who's the man with the pitcher of water?
Aquarius.
Which is where
Jesus
we're at. Told you, mm-hmm. Which is where we're at now. Amen, mm-hmm. Church. But yes, so what we're seeing here is a time stamp. Mm-hmm. The dawn of the Lyran human amalgamation comes on the cusp of Leo. This is when all of this takes place. So yes, you are always right, exact.
Do you know when the age of Pisces ended?
What, in terms of right now?
Yeah.
Some say 2012, according to the Mayan calendar.
Yeah.
The Aztec calendar, excuse me. Yes, mm-hmm. Sir. And the child sacrifice, the unaliving, was Trayvon Martin, and we were all forced to see his body. They didn't. Go back and look at Sandy Hook. They didn't show no children's body. They showed that boy's body as once you put your eyes on that body, you were initiated. Because remember, the Aztecs, the Mayans, they dealt with sacrifice. They were really big on that.
Yeah, I can't even go there.
I won't go there either.
That's crazy. But yo, some will also debate on the calendars and talk about, well, the calendar's off by 8 years and the actual end was 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020.
Y2K scare?
Well, that was 2000.
Oh, 2020. I'm
sorry. So some were saying that that calendar's actually 8 years off, based on following moon calendars compared to the Julian calendar.
Right.
But that's a topic of debate. People talk about that. Yeah, that the end of the age was actually 2020.
Right.
But who knows?
So going with this Egyptian motif, which Leonard Starr told you about, their headquarters, the ThunderCats, is called the Cat's Lair, which is modeled after the Sphinx. What a coinky dink, right? I'm not the smartest man in the world, but they lived inside the Sphinx, according to ThunderCats. But let's move on. The Draconians chased the Lyrans to Earth. I told the rest of this story in this video, Anunnaki, 76 trillion years of reptilian history. I'm not going to go into the whole details of it now, but if you want to hear that side of it, of what led them to do all of that, the backstory, the context, I went through that. I digress. So Inky, they finally catch the Lyrans. It was a long, drawn out thing for them to even get here, because they had to go down to the third dimension. But once they get to the third dimension, Inky catches them. Once Inky catches them, Inky messes with their DNA. Because remember, when he first made them as a pet race, they were primitive, like you saw in Avatar. But then they evolved when they were left to their own defenses, left to their own something. I forgot what it's called when you're left to your own something. Anyway, so yeah, DNA unplugged, memory erased. Inky erased their memories. So it says here, DNA damage began 5,500 years ago when Babylon Sumer invasion. Remember, the story of the Anunnaki is a Sumerian story brought to you by Zachariah Stitchin, or it's a part of the Enuma Elish. Brought to you by the Babylonians. Erased DNA race memory at Stonehenge, except for chosen ones. I did not create this PowerPoint. I did not. I'm sorry, not the PowerPoint. This particular slide.
Yeah,
I didn't create it. But it says the reptilians did this. Distorted holographic tree of life took out 8D and 12D. They had to go down to the third dimension to get away from the Anunnaki. But the Anunnaki were able to transform their DNA in order to even sustain themselves within this particular reality. Blocked life force and Kundalini natural flow. Remember, our pineal glands used to be the size of a golf ball. The glands, pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid.
Yeah.
Shortened the lifespan and damaged immunity set up for recycling the astral 4 to astral 4D. Once the reptilians caught up with the Lyrans who were running from them, Inky tore them up. Scrambled geometric code and morph fields, blocked multidimensional perception, rewrote human history, patriarchal domination and enslavement agenda for Earth humans. And a part of the DNA is ATC. Do you know what ATC, if you rearrange those letters, do you know what it spells?
Cat.
Ain't that something, y'all?
No, but that makes sense, because if you look at our DNA, it looks like a broken ladder.
And they call it junk DNA.
Junk DNA. In other words, DNA they can't explain, therefore junk DNA.
Because Inky tore it up.
Man, that makes so much sense. So we used to live, 300 years old, 500 years old?
Old as Methuselah.
Man, and so we already evolved to be broken.
Yeah. That was the forced evolution by Inky after they caught him. And of course, I went into that story right here, but I digress. So, return to cats.us home dot. The German origin is from cat equals Katze. Question. I was told that Katz is the oldest surname and that the source for this for this fact is one of your publications. Is this true? And is it in one of your books? Answer. Yes, it is true. We printed this fact on April 15th, 1925, and in Ripley's first hardcover book, Ripley's Believe It or Not. And I quote, the oldest surname in the world is Katz. Initially, one of two words, Cohen Sedek. I really wish Crip Jesus was here. Me, Crip Jesus, and MOY, and my grammar's wrong. MOY, Crip Jesus, and I. We did a video on Sedek. Crip Jesus blacked out in that video. Crip Jesus, the Minister of Information, and myself did a video on this word alone, Sedek. Crip Jesus blacked out. He spazzed. Because that name is very deep. And of course, we won't go over it today, but I digress. Every Katz is a priest descending in an unborn line from Aaron, the brother of Moses, 1300 BC, Book 1. Thank you for visiting us at Ripley's Believe It or Not. This is the oldest name, Katz.
Interesting. I mean, it's also interesting in the 1920s and 1930s during the jazz era, the jazz musicians would refer to each other as cats.
Come on.
And it was part of an African-American vernacular in the jazz and blues communities, like a musical respect. The musicians would refer to each other as cats. Like, yo, he's a cool cat. Yo, check out this cat right here. This is an older cat. But it was mostly popular in the jazz scene. There would be the bass player, piano player, whatever, saxophone.
Yeah, Cat Daddy and things like that.
There it is.
So this goes deep and there's a lot more here, but for the sake of time, I'm going to continue on, if that's okay.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you. So the Alpha Draconians were the first race in our galaxy to have interstellar space travel. When they discovered that the LYRANS had evolved and terraformed the Lyra star system with all its natural resources, the Draconians wanted to conquer it because their planet on the Draco star system were barren. This is the story of the Anunnaki. The Alpha Draconians were technologically advanced. They used their superior weaponry to easily wipe out the LYRANS. Go back and watch Avatar. The first one. All of it. In Avatar, the invaders were technically advanced and wanted to take their Crumb. Where have I heard that story before, Crumb? Right. In the movie Avatar, it was somewhat based on the LYRANS, as this cat-like people were a primitive race that had to fight a technologically advanced nemesis. You can't make this stuff up. The colonizers in Avatar represented the Draconians. However, instead of gold, in the movie Avatar, they wanted unobtainium. Talk about an omen. I wonder, do they obtain it in the end of the movie?
It seems unobtainable with that name.
Amen.
Wow.
Very unobtainable. So let me just check something real quick. Let me just 2 seconds.
What a strange name. It's the writers, man. It's all these movies. You're dealing with the writers and what's in their minds.
Right. Almost ready.
Unobtainium.
So now, the ThunderCats depict the journey of a spiritual race, because remember, Jaga was their spiritual guide. They were spiritual for A1 since day one. The ThunderCats depict the journey of a spiritual race that was forced to quickly adapt to advanced warfare. When they first get to, back when they're on Thundera or in the Vega star system, constellation, they're 1+1 compared to their nemesis. When they get to Earth, that's when they start tightening up. They have hoverboards, not an airliner. They have a feeliner, so on and so forth. The ThunderCats had flat screens, computers, projectors. They was pretty advanced by the time they got their ish together. Now, the relationship with Black people and trade goes back generations, because Panthro in the movie was their mechanic, but we're going to call him respectfully an engineer. So now, if you look at our famous HBCUs, HBCU stands for Historically Black College or University. Almost all, if not all, of your HBCUs, the first ones, they're all agricultural and mechanical. Florida A&M. Florida A&M, A stands for agricultural, M stands for mechanical. If I had to guess, Panthro went to Florida A&M. Look at Panthro. Panthro got a ball. You got a bald head. I forgot what that dude was. It was some dude. He would come on the internet, this big Black dude, and he would always say, my name is Tyrone, and I got a bald head. So, he has the Black dude, bald head, the very, very, very wide nose. You can't really see his upper lip, but his bottom lip, that's a thick bottom lip. And he also had a deep voice. His character was played by Bill Cosby's father, not in real life, in the Cosbys. In the Cosbys, whoever Bill Cosby's father was, somebody can type it in the comments. I forgot his name, but he was the one who did Panthro's voice. So he has this deep voice like a Black dude. Well, I mean, from a Black dude. And he's a mechanic, which is stereotypically or a trope based on Black people. So this is the beginning. The Lyran Orion Wars. Crumb, you show me some receipts. Let me fact check you. If you want to fact check me, it's going to be super duper easy. All you have to do is search for the Lyran Orion Wars. That's where I'm pulling this information from. The Lyrans were peaceful and never knew war. They never knew violence or deception. So they were defenseless. So let's go and look at ThunderCats Ho Wiki. Thundera. Thundera was originally the home planet of the ThunderCats. It was the most beautiful, peaceful, and harmonious place in the entire universe. Unfortunately, it exploded one day, and the ThunderCats were the only inhabitants to escape from it. Jaga, the oldest ThunderCat, perished in the explosion and now exists as a ghost. This is, and it says appearances, Exodus Part 1, as you can see right there. So this is their exodus because their planet is destroyed. This is no different than the Lyrans, who had a beautiful planet because they didn't know war. Same thing with the Avatar. They had a beautiful planet and they didn't know war. And then the technologically savvy Nemesis comes along and changes everything. The Draconians ambushed and annihilated several of 14 planets in the Lyran system. It's not 14, it was only 6, but let's just go with that. Matter of fact, yeah, screw it, I'm gonna leave it at 14. Over 50 million Lyran humans were unalived. This is the same thing that you saw with the ThunderCats. They were the only surviving people of their kind. What resulted from the Lyran Draconian Wars was the biggest catastrophic, when I say catastrophic, no pun intended, was the biggest catastrophic event that has ever occurred on this side of the galaxy, and quite possibly this entire universe. So when I tell you this story, it's not just a little story. This is kind of a big deal. So now, where have you heard this story before? Oh, that's right. In the sci-fi classic, the cult classic, Men in Black, Orion is the cat of the gentle Rosenberg, an alien of Arquillian race who tells Agent J, played by Will Smith, and Agent K, played by Tommy Lee Jones, that his galaxy can be found on Orion's belt. The Milky Way is smack dab on Orion's belt. So in the movie, everybody's looking for this cat, and the cat's name is Orion. So, but nobody realized. They're like, we're looking for Orion. We're looking for Orion. And they don't know who Orion is. Turns out Orion is the cat. Brother, does this cat look a little familiar to you in your personal life?
Yeah, it looks like Mojito. Orange tabbies. But people know in the cat world that the orange tabbies are they're like the alley cats. They have like a very like gangster type of vibe to them. They're like mutts. They're like cat mutts. Do you know what I mean? But they're the most ruthless of all the domesticated cats. Is the orange tabbies. That's why you got Heathcliff and Garfield.
Teach.
Remember Heathcliff? Not everyone knows Heathcliff, but they all know Garfield.
Come on. Oh yeah, I remember Heathcliff. We're gonna take it back to what we're gonna do right now is take them back to the 80s, kicking and screaming.
Take them back.
We're gonna way back. So they were looking for Orion. Now, family, when I say space, stop thinking outside. Start thinking inside. In the movie Men in Black, space was not outside, out there, up, because they were looking for Orion and they didn't know where to look. They're looking here, they're looking there, they're looking everywhere but inside. There's a Hindu story that the gods were trying to hide divinity from man, and there was a great council. And the gods said, let's hide it in the ocean. And, no, they'll go down there. Let's hide it in the mountains. No, they'll go up there. Do you know, according to the Hindus mythos, where they decided to hide divinity from humans?
No.
They decided to hide it in them. Stop looking for God in the church, this place and that place. And God is in heaven up there. No, in here. Space, Orion, was not outside, some big thing outside of you. It was small on the inside. It was right in the cat's necklace. Go back and watch Men in Black. All of it. This is 1997 Men in Black. I think it's the first one. I'm almost positive. I digress.
There's another example, but I don't want to name it. I don't want to say it unless you're already going to show it.
Please.
It's from Marvel. Are you familiar with Marvel?
Amen.
And Fury. And you remember how Fury got the eye patch?
Right.
So you have to watch Mrs. Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Right.
To understand that, but there's an orange cat in that one.
Oh, I think her name was Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, yeah. You have to watch Captain Marvel to see that, and then that cat is able to have like these freaking tentacles come out of its mouth and eat people. Now, of course, this is all comic book stuff, but it's another orange tabby.
You ever heard the saying, "A lot of truth is said in jest"?
Yeah.
There's this mythos that the galactic overlords have made contact with our planet. This goes in line with what's that city in New Mexico that had the alien crash?
Oh yeah. Gosh, they're gonna get it right in the chat real quick.
Yes, somebody in the chat. What's the name of that city in New Mexico where the aliens crashed at? I can't remember it.
Roswell.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So sometime around then, maybe earlier, I don't know. But once we made contact with our alien overlords, our reptilian overlords, the Draconian Council.
The Greys?
They said,
were they the Greys?
The Greys were created by the reptilians.
Gotcha.
As a slave race, not a pet race, but a slave race. So now the reptilians, I'm sorry, the Draconian Council, they tell humans, hey, listen, you got to tell people about us. So humans, as clever, well, our leadership, as clever as they want to be, they say, fine, we'll tell them. But here's the rule. There's no particular way you have to tell them. You can tell them any way you want. This is the dawn of the sci-fi genre. Go back and look it up. A lot of people will tell you it was, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who brought you the Kalufu.
Kalufu?
The Kalufu. Somebody in the audience knows what I'm talking about. The guy who brought you that, what was that story, that movie? Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft. So H.P. Lovecraft is considered the original creator of the sci-fi genre. But after H.P. Lovecraft comes the Roswell Craft. After the Roswell Craft, the government kicks off a new genre called sci-fi. Sci-fi wasn't around until the Roswell class. And this is probably the conspiracy theory that fuels it. But some people say the reason sci-fi came out was because of the Draconian Council told the humans, that you have to tell the humans about us, but you can tell them any way you want. This was the birth of Hollywood telling us stories to get the truth out without causing public panic. Remember, I think something like 75 to 80% of all movies get sent through the DOD, which is none other than the Department of Defense. They go through the Department of Defense to get green lighted before being released to the public, so that they can make sure that they release a little bit of truth without causing public panic, but not too much to where it's overt.
Which is why they took Matrix and Terminator away from Sophia Stewart so they can have more control over it and they wouldn't read her book.
Matrix and Terminator were not fictional. It was a documentary.
But they stole it from her from that so they can keep the control.
Amen. You can't make this stuff up. Alas, this is according to ThunderCats.fandom wiki. Alas, the power of the sword was too great and could not be contained. It caused a series of cataclysmic events, which eventually led to the destruction of Thundera. Most of the ThunderCats and many Thunderians managed to escape the planet before it exploded. Many centuries later, the planet miraculously started reforming and became New Thundera. It was the attack by the Draconians that forced the LYRANS to evacuate their survivors from their planet. They became stray cats. It's funny that you said the orange tabby is an alley cat. These were your stray cats. This is what forced them to develop weapons. The LYRANS ran in fear, giving birth to the old tropes around fearful felines. You fraidy cat. But let's not talk crap about the fraidy cat just so quickly. You scaredy cat. Hold on. Let's not be so harsh on our feline friends. You cowardly lion. God dag it, Crumb. Tone it down. All right. I've had enough. Brother, do you remember the cartoon He-Man?
Yeah.
Well, in the cartoon He-Man, Battle Cat is a huge armored tiger that serves as the companion of He-Man in battle. Equipped with a saddle, Battle Cat can carry several warriors into battle like a steed. But his furious claws make him more formidable in combat than a mere horse. In many versions of Masters of the Universe continuity, he can speak, making him not simply a pet, but a trusted confidant of He-Man. Remember, there's a galactic law where they have to tell you the truth. But what they're going to do is they're going to shroud it in mystery within fandom, within science, within sci-fi, so that they don't cause public panic.
Yeah.
In stories where He-Man is secretly Prince Adam, Adama, Delulu, Battle Cat is similarly the alter ego of Adam's pet tiger, Cringer. Remember, the Lyrans were created first as pets. Whereas Cringer is a lazy and cowardly, he is lazy and cowardly, and usually doesn't even want to assume his heroic form. In the beginning, verily I say unto thee, Christians, the Lyrans did not want no smoke. Battle Cat is headstrong and eager for action and excitement once the battle is on. Never forget that Cringer / Battle Cat is a master of the universe. Why they call it Masters of the Universe? Why y'all call it He-Man? They didn't call it He-Man. It was called Masters of the Universe. We're talking about a galactic war. I ain't playing with nobody.
Wow. Shout out to DJ Battlecat.
Shout out to DJ Battlecat. Teach Muhammad. This new spirit to fight the invaders with feline energy was channeled by our Native American ancestors. But over here, there are no lions, so they channeled the spirit of the jaguar. You can see, let me focus your attention. When they went into battle, they channeled the energy of the feline who was not prepared, who was primitive, who wasn't technologically savvy, but still went in. So now you can look to the right. It says ThunderCats, Battle of the Planets. The ThunderCats finally get some backbone. And once they start fighting, that's when you see a real battle take place. So the Draconians would come through the sentient avatar. This is in the cartoon. The Draconians in the cartoon ThunderCats. Because remember, how did the Lyrans get down here? They had to compromise their DNA to get down to Third Earth or the third dimension. The Draconians would come through because they followed them. How did they follow them? The Draconians would come through the sentient avatar called Mumra via Kundalini serpent energy, via Kundalini reptilian energy, via Kundalini draconian energy. The way that, brother, you and me, how do we get onto YouTube? We get onto YouTube by creating an avatar. You can't Google map YouTube. YouTube is not a physical place that you can go to. YouTube exists in a reality that we cannot physically go to.
It's in the ether. That's why it's called the Ethernet.
Teach. God dang it, you better teach. The Draconians, they're not able, most of them, outside of the Nephilim, they're not able to go to the third dimension. So they created avatars and they went through the third dimension through Kundalini energy, otherwise known as serpent energy. And they transformed, or they terraformed, not terraformed, but they transformed or channeled. What do you mean channel? What do you mean channel? I mean channel, just like the Killah Priest YouTube channel. They channeled through the sentient avatar called Mum-Ra. Now, Mum-Ra was indigenous with a wide nose, dark skin. He was connected to Third Earth spiritually, and he channeled the forces of nature which were called in the cartoon evil. Do you know this gentleman on the left?
No.
This is Elder Baba Rashan. He's almost at 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He kind of reports the news from a Black perspective. The same wide nose, and this is not a diss to him. Elder Baba Rashan is indigenous to the land. This is what Mum-Ra looks like, with the high cheekbones, the wide nose, the full lips, the dark skin. Mum-Ra was indigenous to the land, looked like Elder Baba Rashan. Y'all better talk Black to me. And that's not a diss to Elder Baba Rashan. I'm subscribed to him. He subscribed to me. Much love to the elder. Mum-Ra, the ever-living, is an avatar. He's a mummy. He's an avatar. The ancient ones set up to protect Third Earth against, I don't know why I have against twice, against the colonizers and anything else for eternity. Go back and look at the energies, the gods, the deities that channeled Mum-Ra. These characters are reimaginings of ancient Egyptian deities.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that deity right there. This character is a reimagination of the ancient Egyptian deity, Wadjet. Now, of course, they're going to demonize this deity and make it look bad. But brother, let me ask you this. Let's go to the Chinese zodiac. Do you know what year we're in right now?
Like Year of the Dragon or something?
Do you know what next year is?
I don't.
The Year of the Snake.
Oh, wow.
For the next 2 years, we are very deeply engulfed in reptilian energy. This character is a reimagining of the ancient deity, the Egyptian deity, Sobek. Now, if you go and look at Sobek, Sobek is the one that brings you the Christ. Sobek is the Egyptian deity that brings you the Christ. In order to, Christ means anointed.
Yeah.
In church, when I was in church, they would anoint you with olive oil. Well, back then, because the first Christians were the Coptic Christians. This is where Emperor Ali Selassie comes from.
Yeah, because Christ is Cristo, which is Crisco.
Teach. So the first Crisco was not pig fat. The first Crisco was alligator fat. It was called Mashiach. This is where the word Messiah comes from. These are the energies that are going to give you your Christ energy, that are going to give you the reptilian kundalini, the draconian kundalini, the Anunnaki kundalini, blah, blah, blah. But this is what Mum-Ra uses to channel the draconians into the third dimension. So let's go back and look at Mum-Ra. Mum-Ra was an indigenous, indigenous with wide nose and dark skin. He was connected to Third Earth spiritually and channeled the forces of nature, which were called evil in the cartoon. Look at Mum-Ra in this picture. Tell me why Mum-Ra is flooded with Egyptian regalia. Why Mum-Ra got a ankh? Why does Mum-Ra have an ankh? So now, as an animated mummy, Mum-Ra had very little to any life force. He was feeble and he was weak. He made it crystal clear in his magical incantation that the ancient spirits were responsible for rejuvenating him. Where have you heard this story before? Where have you heard this story before? Oh, that's right. Mun-Ra wore twin serpents on his chest. His regalia was indicative of his relationship with the Ancient Ones, in particular, the Reptilians, the Draconians, the Anunnaki, who were obviously reptilian. This energy is still adorned today by professions that heal, because not all reptilians are bad.
The Caduceus.
The Caduceus. Oh, Crumb, the reptilians are bad. I'm not saying the reptilians are good. I'm saying not all reptilians are bad. Not all reptilians are bad. That's a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
That reptilian, it can bite and it can unalive you, but it can also heal you when you're sick. Amen, church?
Mm-hmm.
Crumb, I need to go to the hospital. I need an ambulance. What emblem, what regalia is plastered all over these healing centers? The same emblem that was plastered on Mun-Ra's chest. The Draconian, the Reptilian, the Anunnaki, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Which is technically the Kundalini, right?
Which is that's all wise, right, and exact. Which is absolutely the Kundalini. Let's make no mistake about it.
And the open wings represents the open crown chakra,
Correct.
right? Which is why you would see Native Americans with the chief's headdress to represent an open chakra, or a king to wear a crown to show the open crown chakra.
But let me ask you this, brother. What reptilians have wings?
Like what reptiles have wings?
According to lore.
Oh, man. Dragons.
Dragons.
Draconians.
Draconians.
From the constellation Draco.
From the constellation Draco.
Now, does this also correlate with vampires? I don't want to jump ahead.
Yes, but you're so far ahead that that's another story.
Okay, never mind. Because I was going to correlate it to Dracula and Draco, but
absolutely,
I don't want to jump off your train of thought here.
No, you're good, because at the end of the day, you're all wise, right, and exact. So now, when we see the dragon, remember the G, the C, and the K are all interchangeable. The C, the G, and the K are all interchangeable. So now when you have the word Negro, Malcolm X told you the original word was necro, Negro. But the original word is necro, Necro. But the original, this is the etymology. The etymon is Nekro. Same thing with the word. So now you have Negro, necro, Negro, Necro, Nekro. So now you're going to have a Drake or a Dracon. In Dracon, Dracon, Dragon. Dracon is a dragon. The C, the K, and the G are all interchangeable. Just like you have Negro from Necro, the same way you have Dragon from Dracon. Moving on.
I'll be right back.
Please take your time. All of the bad guys were African animals from the Egyptian deity pantheon who were led by a reptilian. The vulture, the jackal, the monkey or the baboon, They were all led by the reptilian. Now, Mum-Ra's right-hand man, this reptilian, his name is Slith or Slythe. I hate that they got this. Let me ignore all. Of the henchmen, the reptilian is, now Mum-Ra is channeling reptilian energy, and his right-hand man, out of all of them that he could be working with, his right-hand man is Slythe. Slythe is a reptilian and is possibly close to Mum-Ra because Mum-Ra uses Kundalini power. He is wearing an amulet over his third eye. So that amulet, remember, it should be purple. No. Can somebody tell me what is the color of the crown chakra? No, not crown. What is the color of the third eye chakra? Hold on, it's Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, Roy. Red, orange, yellow, G. Green, Biv. Blue, indigo, violet. Indigo. That should be indigo, but it's really red, reflecting his root chakra. Mum-Ra also, he has the wings. Look right here, family. Let me delete this to focus your attention. Dag nabbit, come on, European Jesus. Look right there. You see the wings at the top? You see the wings at the top? Undo, undo, undo. Mum-Ra got the wings at the top. Mum-Ra recognized that reptilian energy. The Draconian Lyran War waged on for eons, and it had to be stopped. There was a great marriage that marked the historic truce. The great cat, Bastet, subdues the serpent Apep by cutting off his head with her sacred blade. The connection between the reptilian and the feline has been carried on for a very long time. The relationship between the cat, the relationship between the feline and the reptilian is age old. I'm only pointing out something that you've seen a bunch of times, but you probably just never caught it. So let's continue on. A Draconian prince, Inky, married a Lyran princess, Bastet. Now, Ptah is green because Ptah is reptilian. Ptah is green because he is reptilian. This is according to homework.study.com. Question: who is Enki in the Egyptian mythology system? Answer and explanation. Enki is actually the Sumerian deity of creation, water, knowledge, and crafts, and not an Egyptian god. However, his equivalent is in ancient Egypt would have been Ptah. Ptah is believed to have existed before creation. Enki existed before creation. Enki was the one who genetically altered the DNA of the Lyrans to bring the Homo sapiens of the hominids, to bring the Homo sapien sapien, and is first seen in recorded hieroglyphs from the very first dynasty. The Draconian prince, Enki, married the Lyran princess, Bastet. Ptah married Bastet. This is according to study.com in an article titled Anubis and Bastet. Bastet is said, let me delete this, to have married Ptah. The connection between the reptilian and the feline is age old. He was the god of craftsmanship and architecture. Bastet is also said to be the mother of Nefertum, which is not necessarily important, but there you have it. This is according to intuitivemind.org in an article titled Exploring the Mystery of the Blue Feline Star Beings. The blue feline star beings. Both are protectors. Sekhmet, the more fierce, and Bastet, the more gentle of the two. Again, they come from the most ancient of lineages, the ancient lineages of Lyra. My point is, I'm not just making this up. It's not just me saying this. When I tell you the Draconian War had gone on for ages, eons rather, they had to have a holy marriage, not a holy marriage, a royal marriage to end the war. So you're going to get a green reptilian marrying a Lyran, a humanoid Lyran, looking like the daggone Sphinx, but backwards. The Sphinx has the head of a human, body of a lion. Bastet had the head of a lion, body of a human. Eventually, Bastet and Sekhmet were characterized as two aspects of the same goddess. Same girl, with Sekhmet representing the powerful warrior and the protector aspect, and Bastet, who increasingly was depicted as a cat representing a gentler aspect. Just in case Inky start to pop fly, I'm going to wax this reptilian. If Inky pop fly, I got something for him. But if Inky play by the rules, you're going to get the gentle girl. But she can be a strong, independent woman. She can crack your head to the white meat, your big head, or she can rub your small head to the white juice. I'm being immature. Bear with me. Cats were considered to be important in the afterlife in ancient Egypt and were considered guardians of the underworld. She's the guardian. Sekhmet and Bastet represent two sides of the same dual nature, one for life, one for the unlive. Woke up this morning. Let me focus your attention. This scared, I'm not one to even talk about I'm being a fraidy cat. Woke up this morning and found my cats guarding my basement like this. Family, I would have had to get rid of them cats.
No, that's interesting.
Go find
something down there.
Something is down there. These cats are telling you, this isn't just a cute meme. Those cats are trying to tell you something, sir. People under the stairs, reptilians down there, I don't know. It's time to buy a new house. Mm-hmm. It's time to get out of here. I digress.
Or they just got to sage it down there.
Okay.
Sage the house. If you ever move into a new place, you want to sage it. And that's not woo-woo.
Oh, right.
You always want to sage it because it just cleanses the air and gets rid of any, etherical smudge that might be. There's a better term for it, but it just scientifically cleans the air out. It's like a smoke.
Amen.
You know what sage is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that stuff it's amazingly powerful. Especially if you can't sleep. You know how you're tossing and turning? If you sage at your bedroom, you'd be amazed how you'll just pass right out after. You gotta open a window for sure.
Indeed. I'll sage myself right out of the house.
Man, or if you have a company that comes over.
Right.
You never know. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. This fierce divine spirit of protection can be seen in the ThunderCats. In the 2011 reboot, they fight a whole army of the reptilian invaders. Also, you can see references to things such as the Akashic Records and astral projection. This is in the 2011 one. In episode 7, you can see Lion-O opening the Book of Omens. By the way, Lion-O is now the prince in the 2011 version, which is fusion of magic and technology. This Book of Omens is a fusion between magic and technology. He leaves his body, gets sucked into the book, and meets Jaga in spirit form. That's astral projection. This is clearly astral traveling. Lion-O said the answers lie within the book's all-seeing records of the past, aka the Akashic records. They got deep, and the original one was deep. As they progressed to the new reboot, they got deeper. Cryptic Chronicles, in an article titled Starseed Lore, Lyran Felines and Early Galactic History, it reads, Lyran felines are often considered guardians of wisdom. Look at these cats. Remember, matter of fact, here, look at this other one. I failed to read it. Please forgive me. Cats are keepers of the spirit world. Cats are keepers of the guardians of the underworld. Lyran felines are often considered guardians of wisdom, guardians of the Akashic records, fostering unity and cooperation among different species and civilizations. Once your DNA heals, remember, Inky tore your DNA up. Once your DNA heals, it will all come back to you. What was lost is going to be found, and it's going to be found and revealed to you by your ThunderCat, Lyran, ancestral ancestors, which is a little redundant, but you get the point. With that said, my good brother, this has been another installation of me, the cult leader. LYRANS, the real ThunderCats. I rest my case.
Yo. That was good. I gotta add something else for you. If you could look it up real quick, it's a small little paragraph. Do you remember the game Altered Beast?
No, sir, I don't.
Sega Genesis.
Altered Beast?
Yeah, check out Sega
Altered Beast.
Boom. And read the small about section right there. Altered Beast.
Altered Beast. Altered Beast is a 1988 blast to the past beat 'em up arcade video game developed and published by Sega. The game is set in ancient Greece and follows a player character chosen by Zeus to rescue his daughter Athena from the demonic ruler of the underworld, Neph.
If you play that game, you start off as a human and then you become an altered beast, and one of them is a cat. It comes for free back then. When you bought a Sega Genesis, it came with a free game, and the free game was Altered Beast.
Oh my God.
I know.
You are teaching.
Yo. And I remember my dad was watching me play. He's like, what the hell is that? But it was like, it's showing you so much, of what we kind of see with archetypes and animals being connected to humans. And, we can get deep with it, talking about the reptilian brain and the cerebellum and all that. But it's just interesting to see it in the video games.
Factory.
And Altered Beast and Zeus and Athena, the underworld, and turning into a beast and all that. How they're just using all of this stuff that we know of in folklore and creating games out of it.
There is nothing new under the sun. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I seen somebody in the comments. They also commented by saying, what did they say? The lichens. You have your Lyrans, and you also have your lichens. You ever seen the movie Underworld, brother?
I have not.
Oh my God! Underworld movie. So in this one, we talk about the Lyrans. Maybe next time, I don't know. we might have to talk about the lichens. I know the family ain't ready for that.
Ooh.
The family might not be ready for that. It might be a little bit too deep. But the lichens,
it looks like
is right on par. Right on par.
Oh wow!
But these are wolves that transform.
Almost like a werewolf.
Like a werewolf. And there is so much deep symbology.
Yeah.
You know, and not to be so wordy because I'm done, but what I'm saying is that clearly these people aren't just making these stories up; they're pulling it from somewhere.
Right, and we can also look at the perspective that it's talking about transformation within. You know, like it's cool to watch these, you know, stories and stuff like that, but like you can see the perspective of the idea that, oh, it's transformation within, turning into a beast, so to speak. Remember Thriller?
Come on.
Michael Jackson taking his girl out. The full moon comes out. And he turns...
It has to be under the moon.
Has to be under the moon. Turns into a beast, right? That was scary. For me at my age back then, I was really young. That freaked me out because I hadn't even seen horror movies yet. But when I saw Thriller, I was like, oh, damn, this is some scary-ish, you know?
Factory.
But as I'm older now, it's like, well, you know, you can talk to any police officer and they'll tell you they get the most activity under a full moon.
I worked at the hospital. You know, and matter of fact, I didn't just work at the hospital. I worked in the worst part of the hospital.
Emergency room.
The emergency room. I did triage. And brother, I'm gonna tell you this. You don't want to work that graveyard shift under a full moon.
Oh.
That's when the wacky quackies will come in.
Yeah. And it's no coincidence. Now, the astrologers say, well, when the moon is full, you are more of your moon sign. And your moon is your emotions. So therefore, you see people acting more emotionally according to their moon sign, or, you know, just in general. Which is why, you know, when some people get emotional, they'll drink. They'll drink more. You may find a trend in some people when there's full moons. I noticed it, you know, DJing clubs. I DJ these clubs 5 times a week. And when there's a full moon, I've always noticed not only that I want to drink more, but more people happen to be drinking. And it's not like they're acting emotional or people are... It's just a small pattern that I notice that is so recognizable. It's expected now. Like, oh, we got a full moon on Friday. Oh, people are going to be drinking. You know?
Come on.
And it's not 100%, but it's very common to see that. Yeah. You know?
You can't make this up, you know, and I would say there are no strange happenings. Law governs all events. There's a reason for this, though we know we don't have it solidified and we might be indulging in tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. But I have to say that we do see these things happening. And let me go back to some more lore. Some more fan favorites. Who was your favorite? Garfield hated Mondays. Garfield told you he don't bang on Monday. He'll take his cat nap all day. Wake me up on Tuesday.
And Monday is Moon Day.
On Moon Day. The lunar day of the lunatics in Spanish is Lunes.
Luna.
Lunas. So.
Lunatics.
These lunatics.
Yeah. And it kind of correlates with the idea of emotion versus logic versus emotion. We have both sides. Some will say it's left brain, right brain, you know, and our whole purpose is to balance the two.
Right.
But when there's an imbalance, you can create stories. Let me bring everybody back here. And yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. You can't make this stuff up.
You could do a whole episode on the moon alone.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah. Wow, that was great. That's good. So I'm gonna plan on editing that one also. I'll probably clip out some minor interjections that I put in just so it's smoother.
Minor interjections? You was teaching. What are you talking about?
I didn't want to interrupt though, but I get excited. You talk about some interesting stuff, and I want to point out some things too, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it flowed very well. I would say tomato is just my, how I look at it. I would say you were adding value. That's what I call it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
But yeah, that was a great discussion there. Because we didn't even get too deep. We could have also gone into a branch about cats and owls. Talking. Well, you know about how, if cats were worshipped because they can see frequencies that we can't. And the same can be said about owls, which is why owls can be so majestically honored and representing wisdom, is because they're able to see those frequencies that we can't as humans. So they say that owls and cats both can see into the etherical or other dimensions, if you will. You know what I mean? They can see stuff that we can't. And the strange thing is, if you've ever had a cat, you've had the experience where you'll see the cat looking at a specific spot and staring in that direction. And you look and you don't see anything. But they're looking in that direction like they see something. You know what I mean? And Mojito's I've only had that a few times with him. I feel like if any spirits or, anything out of this world comes into this house, they see Mojito and yeah, I'm out. You know what I mean? But a lot of people will say that because cats can recognize things. They can see in the dark. I try to put lights out for when he can see his food and stuff like that. But I have friends saying, you don't need to put lights out. The cats, their eyes are able to take whatever light is around and magnify. They can see in the dark, just like owls.
Come on.
But that would be a whole other discussion talking about owls and cats and their similarities. They even turn their heads the same way sometimes.
Ooh. Okay, you going deep.
It's funny you made a sound of an owl right there.
I didn't even. Okay.